What if I told you that getting completely lost in the mountains of Bali would lead me to discover something that changed my entire perspective on solo travel forever? By the end of this video, you'll know the one thing 90% of solo travelers never experience because they're too afraid to let go of control. It's 5:47 a.m. in Ubud, Bali. The air is thick with humidity, and the distant sound of gamelan music drifts through my hotel window. I'm staring at my phone screen, obsessively checking Google Maps for the 15th time, planning every minute of what's supposed to be my spontaneous adventure day. 3 weeks into my solo journey through Southeast Asia, and I'll be honest with you, I was exhausted. Not physically, but mentally. Every day had been the same routine. Wake up, check the itinerary I'd spent hours perfecting, visit the Instagram-worthy spots, take the photos, move to the next location. Rinse and repeat. This is supposed to be the trip of a lifetime, I think to myself, scrolling through my perfectly curated photos that somehow felt empty. So why do I feel like I'm just going through the motions? I'd been following every travel blog recommendation, every must-see list, every local suggestion from Facebook groups. My phone was packed with screenshots of the perfect angles, the best times to visit, the exact spots where the light hits just right. I had become a tourist in my own adventure. The girl I used to be, the one who booked this trip in a moment of pure spontaneity after quitting her corporate job. She would have laughed at what I'd become, a walking, talking travel checklist with a camera attached. But then something happened that I definitely didn't plan for. I'm standing outside my hotel at 6:15 a.m., waiting for my pre-booked scooter tour to the famous Sekumpul Falls. The driver was supposed to be here 15 minutes ago. I check my phone, no messages. 20 minutes pass. Still nothing. That's when I see him, this old Balinese man sitting across the street on a weathered wooden motorbike, just watching me. He's got these kind eyes and this gentle smile, and he's wearing a traditional sarong with a faded Bob Marley t-shirt. The combination is so perfectly Bali that I can't help but smile back. "You look lost," he calls out in broken English, his voice carrying decades of stories. "Actually, I'm waiting for my tour guide. He's supposed to take me to Sekumpul Falls, but..." I gesture helplessly at my phone. The old man laughs, not at me, but like he understands something I don't yet. He rides over on his motorcycle, the engine puttering like a content cat. "Sekumpul Falls very crowded today. Very, how you say, tourist." He makes a face like he's tasted something sour. "You want to see real Bali? Hidden places?" Now everything I'd read in those travel safety guides was screaming at me to say no. Never go with strangers. Always stick to your planned itinerary. Don't trust random offers from locals. But something in his eyes, something about the way he said real Bali made my heart skip. "I don't even know your name," I say. "Wayan," he grins, extending a weathered hand. "And you are tourist, who needs to stop being tourist." That's the moment everything changed. Not when I said yes, but the 3 seconds of complete silence before I made the decision. In those 3 seconds, I had to choose between the safe, planned experience and something completely unknown. "Okay, Wayan, show me the real Bali." What followed was the most terrifying and exhilarating 4 hours of my entire trip. Wayan didn't speak much English, and I knew maybe 5 words in Bahasa Indonesia, but somehow we communicated perfectly. He took me down dirt roads that weren't on any map, through villages where children waved from doorways and grandmothers smiled at us from their morning prayers. We stopped at a tiny warung where the menu was just whatever the owner's wife had cooked that morning. I had no idea what I was eating, but it was the most delicious meal I'd had in weeks. The family insisted I sit with them, and even though we barely shared a common language, I found myself laughing until my stomach hurt. But then we reached a point where the road just ended. Dense jungle stretched out in front of us, and there was nothing but a narrow dirt path disappearing into green shadows. "Where are we going, Wayan?" He just smiled and pointed ahead. "Magic place you trust?" I looked at my phone. No signal, no GPS, no carefully researched blog posts to guide me. For the first time in 3 weeks, I had absolutely no control over what was about to happen next. My anxiety was through the roof, but underneath that fear was something else. Excitement. Real, genuine excitement for the unknown. We walked for what felt like hours through the jungle. My clothes were soaked with sweat, my perfectly planned outfit was covered in mud, and I had no idea where I was or where we were going. Every instinct I had was telling me to turn back, to find signal, to regain control. But Wayan just kept walking, occasionally pointing out a bird or a flower, speaking softly in Indonesian like he was sharing secrets with the jungle itself. And then we emerged into this clearing that took my breath away. Picture this: a hidden waterfall, maybe 30 feet high, cascading into the most crystal clear pool I'd ever seen. But it wasn't just the waterfall, it was everything. The way the light filtered through the canopy above, creating these dancing patterns on the water. The sound of the water mixing with bird calls and the gentle rustle of leaves. The smell of earth and flowers and pure clean water. But here's what really got me. We were completely alone. No crowds, no selfie sticks, no wait your turn for the perfect shot moments. Just me, Wayan, and this incredible piece of paradise that probably wasn't on a single travel blog in existence. Wayan gestured toward the pool. "You swim?" I looked down at my muddy clothes, my sweat-stained shirt, my completely unpractical hiking sandals. The old me would have said, "I don't have my swimsuit," or "I didn't bring a towel," or found a dozen other excuses. Instead, I heard myself saying, "Hell yes." I jumped into that water fully clothed, and when I surfaced, I was laughing so hard I could barely breathe. Wayan was clapping and cheering like I'd just accomplished something amazing, and you know what? It felt like I had. For the first time in weeks, maybe months, I wasn't thinking about the perfect angle for a photo. I wasn't worried about whether this would look good on my Instagram. I wasn't checking the time or thinking about the next item on my itinerary. I was just present. Completely, totally present in this moment. Wayan sat on a rock nearby, still smiling, and said something in Indonesian that I didn't understand, but I felt like I understood it perfectly. We stayed at that hidden waterfall for 2 hours. I floated in the clear water, watched exotic birds I couldn't name, and had the most peaceful conversation of my life with a man who barely spoke my language. When it was time to go, I almost didn't want to leave. On the ride back to Ubud, everything looked different. The same roads, the same villages, the same rice terraces. But now, I was seeing them through different eyes. I wasn't looking for photo opportunities or checking them off a list. I was just experiencing them. That evening, I did something I hadn't done in 3 weeks. I put my phone in airplane mode, sat on my hotel balcony with a cup of local coffee, and just watched the sun set over the rice fields. No camera, no planning for the next day, no scrolling through travel blogs. Just me and Bali, exactly as it was meant to be experienced. Here's what I learned that day with Wayan. The most incredible travel experiences aren't the ones you can plan, research, or find in guidebooks. They're the ones that happen when you stop trying to control everything and start trusting the journey itself. That hidden waterfall became the highlight of my entire trip to Bali. Not because it was the most beautiful place I visited, but because it taught me how to travel with my heart open instead of my itinerary clenched tight. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever felt like you're just going through the travel motions, instead of actually experiencing the places you visit, I want you to do something right now. Hit that like button if you're ready to trade perfect plans for perfect moments. And subscribe, because I'm sharing more stories about finding the magic that happens when you let go of control. And here's your challenge. On your next trip, give yourself one completely unplanned day. No research, no reservations, no predetermined destinations. Just wake up and follow your curiosity. Trust me, the stories you'll come home with will be the ones you remember forever. In the comments below, tell me about a time when getting lost, literally or figuratively, led you to something amazing. I read every single comment, and I love hearing your stories. Until next time, keep exploring with your heart wide open. The real adventure begins the moment you stop trying to control it. And Wayan, if you're somehow watching this, terima kasih, my friend. Thank you for showing me the real Bali.